So then I ask, and I've asked it in this book, what are we missing? And in military matters, I think this. We are missing the sense of people in government. We have not a minister or a junior minister, not a single one, who has ever served in the armed forces. This is entirely new. And this is not to criticize them as individuals, but they don't know, and they think that the use of hard power can deliver outcomes that, in fact, it cannot. Lord Carrington, whom I greatly admire, once told me that when he was the Defence Secretary in the early 1970s, every single member of Ted Heath's cabinet had served in the Second World War in uniform, with one exception, the Education Secretary, Margaret Thatcher. And it was said of her that she would have made an extremely effective and merciless machine gunner. How did we stay out of Vietnam? Harold Wilson was under much stronger pressure from Lyndon Johnson than Tony Blair ever was from George W. Bush. We stayed out of Vietnam because Wilson had a defense secretary, one of the best in our lifetimes, Dennis Healy, who had served as a beach master at Anzio in 1944 and knew the realities. How did we? Margaret Thatcher still had to advise her, Peter Carrington and Willie Whitelaw. But subsequent prime ministers have had no one except their own inner voices, and inner voices can be very serious guides. How does this connect to where we're in? Because it's all a matter of trust. We have lost trust. Now, I think it's going to change. The message of the book that I'm not promoting is fundamentally positive. There is no going back to where we were, none at all. For a start, the new House of Commons is going to have at least half its members are going to be replaced by new members. But I also believe that where what I call the miscreants are hanging in, then it's up to us to replace them. And we know who they are. And in some cases they can be replaced by untainted and good challengers from the regular political parties. And in some places they must be replaced by independents. And in this case, I'm in favour of what I call the local hero strategy. And I base it on the success of my good friend, Dr. Richard Taylor, the Kidderminster physician, who came to see me when I was still an MP in the year 2000 and asked me whether it was possible to turn his pressure group to save an endangered district hospital into a political party. And when I'd heard the facts, and there was an MP who had supported them and had then departed. And he took a job as a junior government minister and he was lost to them. And I said, go for it. And Richard won with a 17,000 vote majority and was re-elected in 2005. So miracles can happen. I was myself the beneficiary of one in Tatton in 1997. It had nothing to do with the candidate. I wasn't a especially skilled politician. And as one of my supporters told me afterwards, against Neil Hamilton, a trained monkey would have won. But it does depend on us, the voters, taking our future into our own hands and thinking of the House of Commons. It is not their parliament, it is our parliament. And understanding that politics is too important to be entrusted to the politicians. Unless we want to go on as we have been, and I don't think we do. So that's one thing that's changing, the composition of the House of Commons. The next thing, there's going to be a new set of rules in force, designed by the Kelly Committee, and I've got every confidence in Sir Christopher Kelly. And there's going to be a new authority, the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority, to enforce it. Now, where I have my doubt is that because I served, unfortunately the members of the authority are being appointed by the House of Commons and can be dismissed by the House of Commons, just where we were with Elizabeth Filton. And the new Parliamentary Standards Bill, which brings in the authority, was defanged tooth by tooth as it passed through the House of Commons in July. And the people who defended the House of Commons were the peers. Not so much interesting to the peers who had been in the House of Commons, but the hereditaries. And in the book I'm not promoting, I quote Michael, 7th Earl of Onslow, who's a lovely man. He's the only hereditary peer who's ever appeared on Have I Got News for You twice. But he said that you cannot overestimate the extent to which the MPs were completely shell-shocked. Suddenly, having been the big man in the constituency, I'm the local criminal. I can't even show my face in it. I cannot go to my local Tesco's without being asked who's paying the bill. And the good Earl of Onslow said that the MPs are so shell-shocked that we, the peers, have got to come to their defence, and they did. So it's touch and go. So the book I'm not promoting is called A Very British Revolution. That is, we're nearly there, but not quite, because we've retreated. And I think that's what we've always done. We have a history of continuous government evolving without revolution since Cromwell dismissed the Rump Parliament in 1853. Ye mercenary wretches, he said, then as now. So that's where we are, but we're not a violent people. We are gentle and we threaten to overthrow things, but it's to our credit that we don't. Historically, we lower our pike staffs and go off to the pub. What I think here we should do is not go off to the pub too much. We must not let them get away with it. We have to complete the revolution. When I was MP for Tatton, I quoted widely one of my favourite poets is G.K. Chesterton, and I'm going to offer you this because I think it apposite where we are. It may be we shall rise the last as Frenchmen rose the first, our wrath come after Russia's wrath, and our wrath be the worst. It may be we are meant to mark with our riot and our rest God's scorn for all men governing. It may be beer is best. But we are the people of England, and we have not spoken yet. Smile at us, pay us, pass us, but do not quite forget. Thank you very much.